NBA free agency started several days ago, and there are a few moves that kind of impacted me, but I want to know which one hit you the hardest so far.
There were several of them, but one of the ones that I think I really like is the move that the Rockets and the Dallas Mavericks did when they acquired Christian Woods. I think that
Okay.
that's exactly what Dallas needed. I think what they recognized is that they had trouble in rebounding when they got into the playoffs, and that they needed someone that was a big, yes, and to be able to play dual role center, and I think he can also do a power forward role as well. And with his strength, and I think that he'll be able to showcase his abilities more with the Dallas Mavericks than he was able to do with the Houston Rockets, because who's really watching those games? No offense. But I think that the Dallas Mavericks found that they had a gap, identified who can fill that gap, and was able to get someone, I think, of Christian Wood's caliber that can fit right into Jason Kidd's scheme and really take the Dallas Mavericks further, deeper into the playoffs, and can potentially be in the NBA Finals. I think this move is really big, coupled with JaVale McGee.
Oh,
Now,
yeah. I was like,
let me tell you
JaVale,
something
yes.
about let me tell you something about what the Dallas Mavericks did. I think they looked at the blueprint from the Cavs and said,
Hmm.
maybe we can utilize two bigs in some way, right? So we already know we have Luca. He's going to be phenomenal, and that's just what he is. This is his team. I get that. They acquired Christian Woods, who can shoot, who can defend, and who can help stretch the floor. I get that, right? But then they said, you know what? But what if we wanted to utilize Christian Woods' ability to do multiple things, and let's bring in JaVale McGee? Now, when they brought in JaVale McGee coupled with Christian Woods, I said, oh, I see what you're doing, Dallas. Oh, I see it.
Mm-hmm.
I see it, and I can see it being successful in the next season and also deep into the playoffs, because you need rebounding and you need JaVale McGee. Because if you watch JaVale McGee with the Phoenix Suns, when he came in, he was really impactful in some of their wins. So now that he's back with the Dallas Mavericks, I'm like, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. So Christian Woods, number one, but then when you couple in JaVale McGee, it really makes
Mm-hmm.
that transition, that trade acquisition that the Dallas Mavericks did, it really made it special for me.
Yes, that is definitely one of the ones that impacted me because the Dallas Mavericks, they traded based on need, and I
Yes.
talked about this in the previous episode. I was like, well, I mean, you can just waltz right in the paint with the Mavs right now, but with JaVale McGee, Christian Wood, please. Do you talking about paint
Ooh,
protection? On
ooh.
steroids right there. Major size in the paint. I love it. That's a great move for them.
And then also, they also have a third one, Powell. I can't remember his first
Yeah,
name. They also,
Dwight Powell. Mm-hmm.
yeah, they still have him. He had experience this last season, where now he understands what that is. He's going to improve on his role too. So we're talking about three potential centers that the Dallas Mavericks have on their roster, unless they trade them. I don't know what's going to happen in the future, but right now they have three potential centers that can really help protect the paint. And I know for a fact that that's what they needed. And it's it's going to be real special. I cannot wait to watch the Dallas Mavericks next season.
Yeah, so that's the front court, but the Mavs lost a key piece in their backcourt in Jalen Brunson. Oh my goodness. He was a solid two option for them, I think.
I agree. However, I'm not upset with the move. I don't think that the Dallas Mavericks, as great as he was, and let's just be honest, Jalen Brunson carried the Dallas Mavericks on those games when Luka Doncic was not in the game. He couldn't play,
Absolutely. Mhm.
and he came through a lot of times. However, I do believe that it was a struggle from my viewpoint when Luka and Jalen Brunson was on the floor at the same time. I just felt like they made it work, but with
Mhm.
Jalen Brunson not being on the roster, I don't think it's a detriment to the Dallas Mavericks. I really don't, because Luka is so ball dominant that Jalen Brunson had to figure out a way to get in. And if you don't recall, when Luka Doncic came back in the playoffs, because I think he missed 2 games and then he came back, he missed 2 games. Jalen Brunson pretty much made it happen. Luka came back and they lost that game. And I think it's because Luka and Jalen were trying to figure out, how do we both do this? How do we
Mhm.
both do this? Did they make it work? Yes, they did. I just don't think it was always successful. So I understand the move. And let's just be honest too. The Dallas Mavericks did not want to pay, or they couldn't pay Jalen Brunson. So why would I stay and get a $55 million contract when I can go to the Knicks and get $104 million contract? Why would
Mhm.
I do that? So I think cost and pay me had a lot to do with it as well. And so, you know what? Hey, I'm okay with the move. I think the benefit, though, I'm going to go back to why the acquisition of Christian Wood and coupled with JaVale McGee is more impactful than the loss of Jalen Brunson, in my opinion.
Okay. Jalen Brunson decided not to even take a meeting with the Dallas Mavericks. So that told me right there, he had his sights on other places anyway, and good for him.
You know what? I think where the Dallas Mavericks messed up with Jalen Brunson, they had a chance to sign him to an extension earlier in the season, and they
Yeah.
held off. You could have kept him, but you didn't want to pay him then. You wanted to see. Well, guess what? He showed improved, and now you ain't got no money. And so
Mm-hmm.
now we have other teams, and in this case, the Knicks, that said, "Oh no, we can take him. We got it. We'll figure out a way to get some money," and they did that. And so Jalen Brunson didn't take in my opinion, he didn't take the meeting because y'all had a chance to get me back then, and now y'all want to lowball me. Did you not see the product I put out in the playoffs?
Yes.
And now you think you could have got me for that low ball if you had signed me earlier in the season, but you didn't do that. You waited.
Yeah.
So now since you waited, and now I know my worth, pay me.
Yeah.
So,
Now, last season, I was a certified Laker fan. And next season, it looks like the Los Angeles Lakers will be without Malik Monk. Huge. That is so impactful. I mean, Malik Monk carried the Los Angeles Lakers when they couldn't carry themselves. I don't know how the Lakers are going to fill that gap. As it stands right now, they brought in some little role players, Lonnie Walker the fourth from the Spurs. You got Juan Toscano Anderson. You got a couple of other pieces. But that Malik Monk trade, and good for him for getting his paper. Good for Malik Monk. I don't know how he's going to do down in Sacramento, but I'm telling you, the Lakers are going to feel that. So I think that's major. I think that's my number one impactful trade for the free agency period right now.
so what you're telling me is that although the Lakers have these superstars, have these stars, one superstar stars, I can't figure out superstar stars, but you put them where you want to put them. But they have these three players, and the three players I'm talking about is LeBron, AD, and Russ. They have these three players, and they trade Malik Monk, and that's most impactful to you.
Yeah, because Malik Monk is instant offense, and he was probably the leader of the youth movement for the Los Angeles Lakers, and they didn't have much youth, right?
I agree.
Yeah.
I know that shocked me too. I don't think they should have traded for him. But again, if you ain't got no money, and this is where these contracts go bad. Remember I talk about good contract. We're like, they got their money. It's a good contract, max, super max, however you want to put it. And then the roster is trash. And now you're like, that contract wasn't too good. 2 years later, you realize we ain't got no money, we got no picks. Like, y'all got to do better. Y'all have to start thinking in the now, because I know people want to win now. But how do you make sure that you salvage your now while still preparing for the future? And I think that's what some of these teams recently have done, i.e. Lakers, i.e. Clippers. Yeah, they want them too. Which leads me to my next point. Malcolm Brogdon to the Celtics. I'm all the way here for it. And let me tell you what's so cool. That's why I love Brad Stevens. He was able to acquire Malcolm Brogdon and not shake up his core.
Unbelievable.
Planning for the now, right? On the pieces that you need, because they realize that as great as Marcus Smart is, as flexible in his skill as Marcus Smart is, he needs some help. So let's bring in someone where we don't have to really dismantle our whole core of our roster. Yes, they got rid of Daniel Tice. Yes, they got rid of a couple of other ancillary pieces that played. Was it Neesmith that played in garbage time, or some other players that barely played anyway? They weren't losing anything, anything that greatly had a positive impact on their run to the finals last season. And to acquire a floor general from the Pacers, someone who can play make, and I'm not saying that he needs to replace Marcus Smart. I'm not saying he needs to replace anybody. He is a complement to what the Celtics can do for next season, and they realized that they needed somebody else. That's all. They just needed somebody else. So I was like, you got Malcolm Brogdon and did not disrupt your core. What I'm talking about is Brad Stevens knew how to plan for the now and also be aware of what his future looks like. I'm like,
yes, the Boston Celtics got a steal in Malcolm Brogdon because his career was getting ready to die with the Indiana Pacers. Like the people were going to forget all about Malcolm Brogdon in Indiana. Let's just face it. The Pacers aren't going anywhere, but the Celtics are, and they needed someone off the bench. Now, I'm told Danilo Gallinari is also on the move to Boston. Fantastic. 40% from the three-point line. Veteran presence.
Yes.
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 Yeah, the Celtics
And
look great.
I love the fact that Malcolm Brogdon is a quiet player, right? Some may say he's a bit boring, but he's fundamentally sound. So we don't need you to come in with all the antics and all the hoopla, because we already got that. We already got it. But if you can come in like your Derek White came in, they acquired Derek White last season, and I was like, oh, good pickup. Then you're gonna pick up somebody else. Ooh, the Boston Celtics. The way that they're being managed right now with Brad Stevens leading that, I'm telling you, that is some special. He need to put on a clinic. No, I'm just playing. But really, I just really like what they did. Malcolm Brogdon is a great piece to that. And I don't think it greatly disrupts what the Boston Celtics is bringing. It actually adds to their success. And so, yes, Malcolm Brogdon is another one for me that I was like, yes, good. And you didn't have to break the bank. Yes.
Yeah, nice. Now, another one for me. Now, I've been a big fan of Golden State's youth, right? You got your Jordan Poole, your Moses Moody, your Juan Toscano, and your Gary Payton. Well, of those, young players, the Warriors lost 2 of them. Now, obviously, Steph, Clay, Draymond, Looney, they're all going to be around. I think Looney just re-upped his contract, but the Warriors lost Juan Toscano Anderson, who now, granted, he did not play much, but that Gary Payton II, that on-the-ball defense that they're going to miss on the perimeter, guarding the best opponent. The Warriors are going to miss Gary Payton II, and they traded him to a Western Conference rival in the Trailblazers. Cannot wait to see Gary Payton D-up Steph, when they play them. Cannot wait. That is a big gap. Not sure how the Warriors are going to fill it.
Another one that shocked me with the Warriors, although I didn't have him on my list, but now that you're talking about the Warriors, they got rid of Otto Porter Jr. too.
Yeah.
He with Toronto. Now, good for Toronto, but really, like,
I know.
So you mean, so this lets me know that the Warriors said the middle experience, I don't know how to really say it, middle experience players, we're going to go ahead and move them out because we're going to make way for our new guys. And y'all think y'all about to do a championship run next season? Okay.
The problem is the new guys, I mean, they're the future of the Warriors. Steph, Clay, Draymond, they're not going to be around another 5 years, I don't think.
No, I don't see it. No. Well, they may be around another 5 years, but the Warriors would not be anywhere near deep playoff run in the next 5 years. No, I agree with that. Yeah, I can say that. But I just don't understand why they just couldn't find a way to balance it all. Right. But hey, you know what? I'm not in the front office. I don't know. And, I know the Warriors organization is a classy organization. So I know they have a plan and we'll see it unfold. I trust that they will. But it was a little shocker to me when I saw Otto Porter Jr. I'm like, for real? For real? Now, this may be a little controversial because we ain't seen this guy in almost 2 years. However, John Wall to the Clippers raised an eyebrow for me. And I don't know what the impact will be, but if he is anything remotely what he was before he got injured 2 years ago, and he should be brand new at this point, right? Because he ain't played in 2 years. He should be brand new. But if he can bring that speed, his passing ability that he had, and his ability to catch and shoot to the Los Angeles Clippers, with Kawhi coming back and Paul George coming back, I'm intrigued by it. So I say it's impactful because it is a little different in their playing style. Because if you think about it, the Clippers can be a bit slow. Because Kawhi Leonard you gonna play at my pace because that's just what I'm gonna do. But I think they recognized they needed someone that had more, with more speed, and then they was able to get him. John Wall, but he lost like $6 million on whatever when he got bought out or whatever he decided to do, whatever that was. You guys can read about that. But I was like, okay, so they were able to acquire him because the Clippers ain't got no money either. So they were able to bring him over. Although we haven't seen him play in 2 years, I still think that he can do it. So that alone, and in Ty Lue I trust, at the end of the day, I can't wait to see what the Clippers look like. Because, technically we really didn't see their full roster at its full strength last season. So what does it look like this season? Now, I will say this. Y'all better not sit Reggie Jackson down. That's what That's what y'all bet not do. Now I know that John Wall has always started wherever he played. I get it. But I was listening to who was it? Windhurst, Wendy, they call him or whatever, and he was saying that John Wall started in 601 games, but he played a total of 613 games. I will say this. I don't care. Y'all better figure out a way to balance him and Reggie Jackson. Reggie Jackson earned a spot. I'm not saying he'll probably stay there, but at least I don't know. I feel a certain way about Reggie Jackson, not John Wall taking the spot. But
Well,
I mean, I am intrigued about John Wall coming to the Clippers.
okay. Well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. John Wall will be sitting down Reggie Jackson because John Wall is box office.
Yeah, I know.
When he was with the Washington Wizards, my goodness.
I know.
I mean, just a blur on the court. And he's just skillful. Yeah, he's so skillful. I'm a big fan of John Wall. I was happy that the Clippers were able to acquire him. And yeah, the Clippers are going to be looking good. You know, Kawhi Leonard is brand new too, as by the way.
And I'm
Should
okay
be
with
well
that.
rested.
And that's fine with me. Welcome back to the league.
All right, cool. So my last one here, I actually have two.
Okay.
The Memphis Grizzlies got rid of Kyle Anderson and DeAnthony Melton. I feel like both of them were steady mid-level veteran presence for the Memphis Grizzlies, who are full of young, talented guys. That's a bad move for the Memphis Grizzlies. I don't care how you look at it. Slow-mo Kyle Anderson provided, you know, offense at his speed, very effective, fundamentally sound. And I don't like it. I didn't like that move.
I was shocked behind that move as well. I don't want these teams have to realize that you need a bevy of players on your roster. You need the veterans that are at the end of their, you know, NBA career.
Mm-hmm.
You need those veterans that are in the middle that have experience playing in today's game and the games of old, because you know you just need that. And then you need the new players, right? You need all three of them, I believe, to make your roster complete, because all of them bring something special. Everybody can't be speeding down the court. Right. Everybody can't be jumping up in the air and doing box office and what is it called, posterizing everybody. Everybody can't do that. You need people to come in with some skills that are fundamental. They may not be as box office, it may not be as special, but they are so efficient that they help carry your team to lead to wins. And so when these players like your Anderson guy goes away, it's like, well, who are you gonna replace him with? Hopefully somebody that's like him, or you just want somebody else that's gonna be a John Morant. You can't have all John Morants on your roster. You just can't have it, because it doesn't make for great basketball in the end, or basketball that's gonna win. You know, so yeah, I was a little sad about that one too. However, who picked him up? I forgot.
Kyle Anderson went to the Timberwolves, a Western Conference rival. We saw how they duked it out in the playoffs.
I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at the Timber. Okay, go ahead. I got another one. See, this is what I'm talking
about. Okay. So my last one is one of my favorite young stars, first-time All-Star, DeJounte Murray. Got out of San Antonio finally from underneath Popovich to the Atlanta Hawks, where he can run and gun in an exciting offense with Trae Young in Atlanta. I love it. That was fantastic to me. And it caught me by surprise, because I never thought the Spurs would get rid of DeJounte Murray.
You know what I like about that move? I like the fact that DeJounte Murray had a chance to be under Pop. I cannot discredit the level of basketball knowledge and the way he coaches, how it can help players. So now that he can take all of that knowledge, all of that coaching, and bring it over to the Atlanta Hawks, and if he maintains that, he's going to be amazing. Will he help bring the Hawks a championship like Kawhi helped lead the Toronto Raptors after leaving the Spurs a championship? Like, is this what's going to be? You know?
But that's a stretch. That's a stretch. But they will definitely be exciting.
Yeah. I'm nice with that move. I don't know, in the grand scheme of things, if it will be enough. The Hawks, for me, still needs to do some other moves this offseason to kind of help complement the move in bringing Murray over. I don't know yet. So I'm still although I'm happy for Murray that he moved to Atlanta, I think it's a great help to that roster and also will relieve some of the pressure, can relieve some of the pressure from Trae Young. And that's probably what they need anyway. So Trae Young can be more efficient and, all of that. I just don't know if the front court has enough. I just don't know. I don't know. So I'm going to reserve, my comment on that until I see what they do. Some of these moves, I'm like, oh, that's going to be great. Other ones, I'm like, it's nice, but is it going to be enough to really move the needle? And that's what I'm hoping it will move the needle for the Hawks. I just don't know yet for me.
Okay. All right. So let me hear your last one, your bonus.
Okay. So the Jazz said, we about to blow it up. Boom. Now, when I first heard that Rudy Gobert, they traded Rudy Gobert to the Minnesota Timberwolves, I said, oh, the Timberwolves got gooped. But as I thought about it, when I think about the teams moving into a direction where they are considering two bigs and identifying that although Karl Anthony Towns is huge and he should be able to defend and do all that, he don't want to do it. He don't want to do it. We recognize that he don't want to do it, and maybe he's best suited to be able to play a different role. So let's bring somebody in and all they're going to do is stand in the paint. Because that's what you're going to get with Rudy. He's going to stand right there. He's going to get you the rebounds. He may swat a few balls, get you some blocks. We're going to let Cat do what he do. And he's going to be able to run around. If you want to swat a ball, he can. If you want to get a rebound, he can. But if you want to shoot from the three, he can. And we're not going to be compromised in the paint. So I said, I ain't mad after I thought about it. I said, I'm not mad. I like to see how it unfolds. But Gobert, maybe all right, considering that I think these teams like the Cavs, like what Dallas has just acquired. It's something about the too big thing that I'm going to be looking more into when the next season starts and seeing how it is successful. Is the league shifting in some aspects where now we want to go back to the bigs being the most dominant in some way? So I was like, I'm not mad at that move. So that one intrigued me. So we'll see.
Yeah, but see, here's the difference though. Cleveland, their two bigs can play inside and outside the paint. Dallas, with the exception of JaVale McGee, their bigs can play in and out as well. But when you talk about Cat, we know he's a dominant beast. Yeah. Rudy Gobert is limited. That's why I have my reservations. Okay. He needs to expand his game in order to, kind of duplicate what the Cavs and the Mavs have done or are going to do,
Maybe we will see it. Maybe he does have other skills that were not utilized when he was with the Jazz. Maybe. I don't know. So I can't wait to see it, right? Maybe Quinn Snyder was like, no, Rudy, you're going to do this and that's all you do. But maybe the Timberwolves will be more open to him exercising his other abilities if he has them, right? And so we'll see what that looks like. But I agree that is going to be a hang-up, so I can't wait to see it. But initially I was like, Rudy, where? Timberwolves, y'all got gooped. And as I thought about it, I said, well, it may actually work if the coach knows how to coach. So we'll see. We'll see.
Okay.